So welcome back to episode 4 of the Let's Be Honest podcast with me, Peter, Stuart, and Paul.
For
the audio listeners there, that was a thumbs up, by the way.
Yep.
I'm just back from physio.
Right.
My first appointment with a private physio, I went to NHS, but I'm not going to talk about that.
Is it your back?
It's not. It's my leg. So it dislocated my knee in November.
Right.
So I went to private physio for the first one today, and this big rugby guy basically comes out of the room and says, right, come on, lie down on the table and I'll give you an MOT.
Right.
So I'm lying down on the table, and obviously, you know, if you have an injury, you're a wee bit nervous about the whole thing. So I sit down, and you know those videos of people like cracking your neck and where they pull your body and they crack it all into place?
Uh-huh.
He was pulling me in every direction. And like I said, big guy. He was
That's
just
called a chiropractor.
But he was like Shrek, and he was pulling my leg in every direction possible. And I thought, but he goes, this is your MOT now. You need to relax. And I was like, I can't relax. You're pulling. He literally had my knee up to my head at one point.
Wow.
To see what the flexibility was like. I was like, I am not. And I was paying for this.
I've experienced that before. Yeah, it's not pleasant.
Not pleasant. And he goes, and he's sitting there going, relax. I'm sitting there like a wee kid.
I once had a woman on top of me with boobs so big that I genuinely couldn't breathe. And my wee glasses were steaming up.
There's no answer to that
but
one.
But anyway, what I was going to say is, this evening, so I've had a prescription.
Is that the same one I'm thinking of?
No, I've had a prescription in my wallet to leave into my local GP for a while now. Went past the surgery this evening, loads of cars around, parked mine, walked to the automatic doors that didn't open. There was a sign up saying, please leave all repeat prescriptions in the letter box round the back of the building. So I walked round the back of the building, no letter box. Walked round to the front, thought, have I missed the letter box? Walked round the back of the building again. I thought the police were going to arrive. I couldn't, in the end, I just got in my car and drove off. But you're talking about what you experienced. Do you remember, Paul, a guy who used to be on the Kelly show, Jan de Vries?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I had terrible trouble at one point in my life with a clicky jaw. And it was down to grinding my teeth, right? It was ultimately sorted out by a retainer that I would put in to sleep with at night. But I went to see Jan de Vries, and he did all that to me, what you were describing, like, you know, like, cracked my neck, and then at one point I lay face down on a table, and he took a big run up and then jumped on top of me, elbow went into the back and all. And it cost a fortune, and that didn't make the difference. As I say, it was the retainer sleeping at night.
Well, see, on that prescription, would you not be best just to have those delivered discreetly?
I can't even get them dropped off to get the doctor to sign it.
Just have that delivered discreetly in brown paper packaging, and no one knows what they are. Not that I'm saying from experience or anything, but it's just a benefit. It's very difficult to go into the pharmacy, and especially if it's a female. You wouldn't want to be handed that prescription, Banter.
Well,
you should have those delivered discreetly.
They yell out.
Because you know rightly, she'd be on WhatsApp to all her friends and say, you wouldn't believe it, there's a wee man in here with glasses and here's what he's getting.
But that's the thing with this place, like, there is no, although there's meant to be, you know, confidentiality, there's not in this country. Like, people you'll go down to the bar and you'll tell someone. There's no escaping anything.
Well, the place is so small, the country's so small, everybody knows everybody else.
Do you remember the security guard who used to work at Cool, Paul?
Yeah.
And he would he would pester you until he got a bit of gossip out of you, right? Mm-hmm. And nothing. You're holding back on me. You know something. You're keeping it from me now. I thought me and you was friends. And then eventually you give him a little bit of something. And then there was more than one occasion where a couple of nights later I ran into him again, and he said, "Shh, come here now. Don't tell anyone now. You have to promise, you have to swear." And he would tell me my own story back to me.
But is that like a generation thing? Like, because you can't, nothing is a secret. There's no point in say someone works in like FBI or something, you'd be down the pub that night telling them what happened.
In my previous life, we used to have a saying, and it was between you, me, and the fire brigade.
Okay.
That was how secret everything was, between you, me, and the fire brigade. And you'd go off to a course nowhere, or go to a course in Portadown, or go to a course in Limavady, and somebody said, "Here, boy, did I hear about you and that other?" So it just travelled everywhere.
You do though, and I probably do tell you too much because you do have a reputation of not being able to keep a secret.
Oh, do you?
A lot of people will often say to me, "Tell or nothing."
Name names.
I can't do that. I can't do that
Let's be honest.
because
No, that's a very scurrilous. That's a very scurrilous remark. Actually,
I don't spread gossip.
no, that's a very scurrilous remark
And
to come out with.
the fact that I do confide in you tells me that I take what they say with a pinch of salt. But I'm just letting you know a lot of people will, and I assume people say that about me too.
Oh, 100%. Very much so.
Yeah.
You're off a lot of Christmas card lists, as you well know.
Well, see, I tell the truth, and people don't.
Yeah, but you are off. You are off those lists. You know, you've been dropped from different WhatsApp groups and stuff, as you well know.
Well, you see, people can't handle the truth.
Didn't it?
Wait,
Oh, McDonald's offer there.
it's a different
It
noise
is
every
actually.
time.
It is fun. Would you believe it is actually? Yeah, yeah.
What is it this time?
Big Mac for 180.
That's pretty good.
I think everyone lives by gossip. You need gossip in your life.
Wee bit of gossip, just it gives you that wee bit of spark.
And there's always that
Yeah.
neighbour. There's always that neighbour who's out straight away and knows everything about the street.
Yeah, well, there's one across the road from me here, and she's just had a child, but hasn't told anybody else in the park here. So the neighbour on the other side of me here, he said to me the other day, "I'm determined to go and see what's going on." So he watched out anyway, and he watched us for your man walking down to bring up the bin.
Mm-hmm.
So lo and behold, isn't he pushing the pram down the street to pull up the bin? So the boy next door here, he runs out as he's pulling the bin back up with the pram. He runs over. Oh, he says, "I hear congratulations are in order." Congratulations are in order. Oh yeah. What's his name? Ezra is the first name. Oh, great. So he came in and told me, "Oh, they call the child Ezra." I said, "Oh yes, everything's great." So the other day I'm going out, and lo and behold, doesn't the boy wave at me? He says to him, "Hi's wee George." And you want to see the look of that?
Oh,
That didn't go down too well.
Would you call yourself like a curtain twitcher?
No,
You wouldn't be.
I have cameras for that.
No, there's one of my neighbours who would be out. I mean, she'd be hoovering the grass, anything, just to get out and see what's going on in the street. And
See,
it's just
that is your neck of the woods. And here's the thing about you were saying about small words and everything else. It came back to me a couple of weeks ago, if you remember rightly, that you were spouting about me in your neck of the woods. Isn't that right?
Yeah, but it's just your name. Your name is you're just renowned in so many places.
Oh.
In circles.
In circles. Yeah.
In those
Yeah.
particular circles.
Mm-hmm. But isn't it, that's the weird thing with this country. Like, you mention one name and they know exactly who you're talking about, and they know your family, and they know
But it was
everything about
disappointing that you didn't actually, portray me as like a decent guy.
No, I was just talking about your choice of cars and
Oh,
what else was I talking about? I can't. Nothing. I wasn't saying anything bad. I don't think. Nothing that I wouldn't say on record.
girth. You had mentioned the word girth, apparently.
Oh, did it? Brooks?
Yeah, Girth Brooks. Yeah.
Do you remember, Paul? Maybe you don't, but do you remember that place I used to live in? And there was a wee old woman downstairs. And the first day I moved in, she was out, "Hello, and who are you?" And, I just thought she was being overly friendly. And then she was like, ultimately, you ever seen the first Ghostbusters, Rick Moranis? Every time your woman leaves her apartment, out, I'm coming back out. And she was just like, I'd be on the third floor, and whenever she'd hear any movement on my door, she'd be out of hers because she was on the ground floor, and she'd be waiting for me at the bottom of the stairs. And at times even I used to creep out and she'd still be waiting for me. "It's that management company, and I've told them, and have you heard about your woman in number 43? And then do you remember? She ultimately, I think I made the mistake of telling her what I did for a living. And then, remember, I started to get letters from the council accusing me of playing loud music in the middle of the night. So I told her that I, was a DJ and also did gigs. So next thing, I start getting these letters accusing me of noise pollution. And one morning I was brushing my teeth, and next thing there was a pound and knock on the door, and I opened the door, and it was the husband. But he's obviously only like, she would drive anybody to madness. So he's at the door going, "Turn your music down! Stop playing the music in the middle of the night!" And I went, "I'm not playing music, right?" So I mean, I left not long after, coincidentally, but so God love whoever's in there now.
It wasn't the night that your woman was around and jumped on you, was it? Wasn't that night, was it?
No, it wasn't that night. No.
Right. There would have been loud music that night, wouldn't there, Bamford?
He was at the door that morning. There's a wee girl crying in the middle of the night and screaming.
Aye, for about 10 seconds.
Me. Yeah, 10 seconds, yeah. And I sent you a video, I think, over the weekend of a guy who...
I didn't look at Bamford. I thought it was filthy. I didn't look at it.
Well, of a guy, and this works, if you work from home or whatever. So this guy lives in Manchester, and he's looking out his window at rain, and he's paying just under £1,000 a month rent. And then he looked at it, and it was like maybe £930 for a month at an all-inclusive in somewhere like maybe Turkey or something. And he was going, if I can work from home on a laptop, I'd be better just living there in the sun.
But a lot of people are doing that. Like, a lot are doing that. There's, that you can, we know a chap who does that all the time, and that's working from home. But you can do it. That's the way it is now. People would do that more than get up in the morning to go to work. But I would find that very restrictive.
I was always so jealous of people during lockdown. Working from home did not work for me because you roll out of bed, you have a coffee, you turn the laptop on, you sit there all day at 5 o'clock. Sometimes you force yourself to go out just for a change of scenery. Other times you just move on to the couch. And you've the days just roll into one. And even, I find it, even getting up in the morning, jumping in the car, going to work, there's a different mindset. You get so much more done. You come home, you look forward to coming home. Whereas when you're sitting at home working all day, you do everything at a really slow pace. And there's always the temptation of the fully stocked bar over there, isn't there?
It needs to be separate, because are you at home or are you at work?
Well, I tried to do the whole, taking your laptop to a coffee shop or all that sort of stuff. And I think there's something wrong with my brain. I can't concentrate if there's noise. So if there's say there's a conversation happening over here and I'm trying to read something or do something, my brain drifts to honing in on the conversation, and I cannot.
You're a nosy bastard. That's for sure.
Curtain twitcher.
Yeah. It's a nosy bastard. Just sitting. What they say.
Thanks, doctor.
Did they mention Oran Pistol? Did they mention Oran Pistol over there? What were they talking about?
But I follow this couple who...
what you get up to, I've said before.
No, not physically. Stalk them. I think they're from Donegal, but they moved out of their house and they did that whole van conversion, and they now just travel around in this van. But they work from home, but they're on the road working. And they say they save almost $1,000 a month just by not being in a house. So they're out traveling, and they're out. Obviously, you buy petrol and buy gas and all the rest of it, but just to move out of a house and not have that over your head.
I heard there's been a massive surge in people selling their homes and buying really decent camper vans. But where do you practically long term the novelty would wear off, wouldn't it? But apparently they're doing it because they've no choice.
There's people who do it in a massive transit van, so there's loads of room. But yeah, I get what you mean. After about a month or so, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. But then again, you get to drive about and you're in different places and different scenery, so maybe that balances out. I don't know.
You're a road hog, Paul.
Look, I did all that. You guys are tempting me into this conversation where yes, I did all that. We did all that camper vanning and all around Spain and France and all around the places, and trying to get the thing parked and trying to get electric into it and trying to get water into it. It's not an easy scenario. Filling it up with water, how do you get washed? And if you go across to these campsites, you stay at these campsites, and you go across to the toilets and they're stinking, and you go across to the shower rooms and they're stinking. That life just would be awful.
Yeah, the whole toilet. Like, I think the toilet needs to be separate. I can't deal with
It's
someone
all right for a
going
week,
to.
2 weeks
Uh,
or whatever, but
someone going to the toilet beside me. Nah, I just no.
and you're queuing up to the toilet, or the toilet's
I,
locked, or in these camper vans they have like a chemical toilet, but it's not great for number twos. And let's be honest, you wouldn't want to be sitting with your partner squeezing out a number two in a camper van, and then she needs to go in herself. Because that thing is sitting in the drum.
There you go. There's a clip.
Do you know what I mean? That is just lying in the drum overnight. And do you see when you go the next day then to the slush and empty it out? I can tell you, it's not easy. And God love the girl that and she's no longer with us, but the God love her. Like, she was really into this camp and stuff. She loved it. She would go and empty it out. I wouldn't do it. I said, I can't go and do that. And she would be over happily rinsing it out, bless her, hosing it all down and hosing down the slush and coming back and putting the blue chemical back into the drum, slipping it back into the camper van, leaving it free again for another big deposit.
And you'd run straight into another one.
And especially in the continent and Spain and these places and with the heat and the flies and
You've sold it to me. What a lifestyle.
Oh, I showered in the camper van. There was no problem with the shower.
What?
In the camper van? There's a shower.
Yeah. You just kept filling up the tank, and it had built-in shower and all.
How big was it?
In the shower,
Is it like a caravan?
like a single shower, like a normal shower.
I think like a wee VW camper van. You
No.
could store like that.
This thing we had was 30 feet, 32 feet long or something like that.
Okay.
This was a mobile home on wheels. I went away there a couple of days last week to a hotel down around Enniskillen.
You think you mentioned this? Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I was thinking about it. Why can people not come out, if they're staying in a hotel room, right? Why can they not come out and close their bloody door quietly? Why does the door have to slam? Why does it, what do people get out of this? The bloody door slamming.
I don't think they get something out of it. What do you
And
mean?
then they slobber the whole way down the hall. And then when they get to the bottom of the hall, what is it you get? What do you get at the bottom of the bloody hall?
What?
Shh. Shh. You've dropped the whole way down the bloody hall.
So it was relaxing
And then the
then?
next thing, the door opens and the door slams. And then when the door slams, they're inside hooking and messing about. And you can hear this. And then what do you get? Shh.
Have you ever been in a hotel and heard people like across the way making that kind of noise, and you hear like glasses clinking together, and you think to yourself, they're having a better life than me?
No.
I've had that, yeah.
I remember being in Disney for the first time last year. We were in a room, and it was obviously a family room. You know the way they put two rooms beside each other, so your kids can go in one room, and you close the door, and you can stay in that room. It was obviously one.
Door?
Yes, it was one of these setups, but they had locked that door in between because there was another couple on the other side, and I just felt so dirty, just being so close. Just no, not that way. I just felt so being so close to someone, knowing that you're sleeping, and there's only like a wee door between you, and they're on the other side of the door.
Well, you went to a thing. You went to like a hut in a forest there not so long ago.
Well, that was different.
With
It was
no windows.
It was no. I know. I felt like a science experiment. It was like a dome, and now fair enough. Half the dome behind you, it's kind of closed off, but then on the other side, you just see the field and see the trees, and it's
very green.
It's a weird experience. It's the closest I'll ever get to being a
naturist.
And yes, I was going to say nudist, but naturist would be the right phrase. Yeah. While I was speaking of the next bit, get your TripAdvisor account up,
Yes.
and I want to see the next review.
All right. We restaurant in Belfast. I give it 3 stars. Service was attentive. My only gripe would be there must have been an air extractor issue, as the restaurant smelt.
Of what?
Excuse the pun. Cooking reminded me of a cafe. Good fries all day. The other slight issue is the tables and furniture are dated and need upgrading. It was sorted, but to be honest, It wasn't a great experience. Now, the guy responded, okay?
Ooh.
Thank you for your constructive feedback. We will act on these points that we can. We appreciate you taking time to do a review, a bit disappointing. I hope we can have the opportunity to look after you again later in the year.
That's a very professional response. I don't believe they acted upon that, but that's
No, they didn't, because I went back and they didn't.
no. But because you went back, but that's publicly him trying to be seen to be, acting upon.
Communicating.
Yeah. And it's more, he didn't give a toss about you. It's more about others who might be considering a booking.
I had recommended it at one stage to go, and they came back to me and said, I got some terrible smell. It was just like a greasy cafe.
Oh.
I love you're there to review the food and you point out of how dated the furniture is.
Well, look, if you're paying £75 and you're sitting at a small wooden table and it's covered in rings and stains and somebody else with a bit of graffiti on it, like surely, tablecloth for £5.
I really enjoyed you doing. I mean, I was picturing you there, like walking out in like a bookstore or a theater and just reading out TripAdvisor reviews.
Yeah.
But you see, you two boys still laugh at me at this, but I think that's very beneficial to do, because if it's not right, it's not right. I keep telling you that.
So when you're going anywhere, do you always check TripAdvisor?
I would for a hotel.
What do you think the top attraction is to do on TripAdvisor in Northern Ireland?
Giant's Causeway.
Titanic is number one.
Okay.
If you were coming here as a tourist, what would you go to see?
So if you're coming to Belfast then?
Yeah, if you were coming to
Or are
Belfast
you
here as a
thinking
tourist, what would you go to see?
Next on that list is Belfast City Hall.
Aye, well, that's all right. It's
What
worth
do
a
you
look
see
around. It's great architecture, and
Do you book a tour?
yeah, you can book a tour at City Hall. Yeah,
Here's one of the reviews for it. This would probably be a nice enough spot to relax if there wasn't a plethora of irritating young people who cannot spell their own name without either smoking a fag or swearing outside it.
That's fair.
yeah, fair.
Where did all the emos go?
That sounds like a song.
Do you remember they used to sit outside City Hall on the benches?
I don't
Certainly when I
think-
was young, every time you went into Belfast, you were scared of walking past City Hall.
I don't know. Do emos still exist? I think that sort of young. I think young people are too trendy now, and they all look like wee One Directions walking about now, don't they?
They're
Yeah.
all socially savvy.
Did you go through any phases when you were growing up?
Yeah, I went through like a Nirvana rebellious phase.
Nothing that springs to mind.
Like a disco phase or something. No,
Yeah, well, I was too. What do you mean, like doing them or going?
like just heavily into disco.
Well, I did have a pair of Bay City roller trousers,
What were they like?
short with tartan down the side, and they were blue.
Do you still have them?
No. But they came up. Do you remember? No, you guys wouldn't remember.
I
They-
remember the Bay
They
City
came up
Rollers. Yeah.
above your ankle, and you tight round your crotch area,
All right.
so that
And would you wear them out, go shopping?
why?
Would you?
That was the thing.
What about you, Pistol?
No, I was just very. I had a
Tinto?
bowl haircut when I was young, and
And you
just
still have.
and double denim.
Oh,
Yeah,
me,
well, that was
There's
the.
nothing out there like. Oh, you know what I did have after the bowl haircut? When I was maybe second year in school, so I was about 13, 14, I had a Mohican, right? Now my hair was almost like Afro hair because it like I said, especially my sides, they grew out rather than grew down,
Uh-huh.
right? When I grew this hair, cut down the two either sides, left the strip, but I didn't style the strip. I didn't style it to go up on a point, just left it like a landing, like a runway
right.
up my head. Or the V cut. Do you remember the V cut at the back of your head? And the back of your head went into a V.
Right. Okay. Yes.
And people were getting all these cuts and all. And you're getting lines shaved in here and line. And
It would have been before your time, Pistol, but I think it's probably again motivated by David Beckham at the time. But you remember when everybody had curtains? We curtain down the middle and curtains to the side.
yeah.
But sure, he was running around then in a long skirt or dress or something at that time. Do you remember?
I do. I
That
had
wrap around. What was it called? A
sarong, is it?
sarong or something? Yeah, that's a very. I was nearly saying thong, but it wouldn't be a thong.
But
Sarong, yeah.
I had curtains at one point, and we went on a family holiday to Jamaica, and I got dreadlocks and brought them home. These days, that would be considered racist.
I see you haven't bothered with the curtains in the apartment either.
But no. 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 I often, particularly when I'm like naked, I think I should get curtains for everybody's sake.
Mm-hmm. Not a bit of wonder that we once ringing up and complained to have you put out.
No, that was the other place. No.
Aye. That belonged to happen. That's happening there too.
When you're up high and you're a bachelor, you don't feel like curtains are a necessary expense, but Guinness night researchers are.
Obviously, yeah.
No, let's be honest with this. We see when you go to the dump to leave stuff. First thing is, when you go to the dump these days, you're asked a million questions. What's in your bag? Where are you from? Where do you live?
What's in your
What
drawer?
age are you? But then when you go in and you see these people hooking in the skips, and do you remember that was a thing? I don't know if it's such a thing now. I think you're told off for it now. But there was always that one guy who was hooking around and picking up a wee table or picking up like a birdhouse or something.
My father used to do that. Part of his wee business, he had a mini skip business on the side.
Uh-huh.
And every time you had to hold a mini skip into the yard, he'd be unhooking and, oh, look at that. There's a set of screwdrivers or there's an electric power tool. And he'd go off and he'd fix it. And the next thing in, you had a big electric grinder for nothing that someone had threw out and all it needed was a fuse.
And that's what I mean, like the stuff that people throw away. And here's another thing. There's this guy I follow in, is he from New York, I think? And he spends his night going around the back of businesses and going through their skips and going through their bins. And he gets like really good like Christmas presents that he puts on his, and even like food, food that's thrown out, but it's still okay.
Does he work for forensics?
It's still in date, it's still in packaging, and it's still in date. And the stuff he finds is mad.
There's a bakery just down from my dad's butcher's, and like at night time, just before they're about to shut, they come in with all this stuff. What do you want? And whatever is not taken is just thrown into the bin.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your father doesn't do that with the meat, though. Sure, he doesn't.
No, because he's a smart businessman. He only buys in what he knows he's going to sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, provide a great turkey dinner.
I remember getting into a kebab shop in Lisburn, and it was the.
I know who owns that kebab shop. Be careful what you say.
Well, here we are. This was again end of the night. Went in, bought the kebab, naan bread, chicken, doner meat, whatever.
Allegedly,
bought that, right. Then he goes, so give him the money over and whatever it was, £7 or something. Then he goes, well, here you are, by the way. Here's 2 full boxes of doner meat that I'm going to throw out here. So here you can take that as well.
Wow.
So he took my money, but then he also gave me 2 helpings of free food. Give me the free food, then don't make me pay for the meal.
Did you eat it?
Oh no, couldn't. No. Do you know I can never finish a kebab?
I don't. You know what?
Then don't buy one.
I like the taste of a kebab, but my dad has me that. He told me that many stories about that type of meat that.
Just go down and hook through the ingredients. Do you see what's in it?
Yeah, and it's just like sitting out for hours under that bloody heat and like flies and
the fat flying out of it, dripping into the thing below.
It's done me no harm.
What?
Up to now. And here, the last thing that I will say, speaking of food and all, again, a guy on TikTok, he's I don't know if you would say scientist, but he has a microscope and he videos, he puts different things under this microscope, and he put a strawberry, he just put it under the top, put a strawberry under the, you want to see the things crawling about in it.
Yeah. I've seen that.
It was, and then what he got a tin of Fanta, opened up the tin of Fanta, so nothing has been in this tin, opened up the tin of Fanta, poured it onto the wee plate, put it under, and you want to see, like, bits of plastic, bits of metal, wee things running about in it. It would put you
go into any shop and buy an apple and bring it back and have it tested. Do you see what's on an apple that you would buy out of a shop? And they always would say, oh, wash your apples and wash your fruit and wash everything else. You take that maybe 4 or 5 or 8 or 10 people before you've been in, lifted that apple, don't like that one, put it back down again. Oh, no. Yeah. And then you come along, you lift it. and you go home and there's bodily fluids and everything all over the apple.
See, that's why whenever somebody brings in like, oh, I baked something, and everybody have a bit. I don't know if you've got cats, or I don't know how clean you are. No thanks. No thanks.
But just, you see what you think about it, like, it would put you off just food in general for life. Like, even there was one where he put his own hand underneath it. He just washed his hands and he put his hand underneath it. And you'd want to, do you know what I felt like doing? Getting the potato peeler and just peeling my skin off.
Oh,
Well, look at your own hand, pistol, especially your right one.
Left-handed.
Well, look at your own hands. Do you see?
naturally enough, when he said I'm left-handed, you went, well, and you tried to think of something and not the game. Well,
look, if you were going to go on like that all the time, you wouldn't even need anything.
I know. Yeah, you feel a bit. I feel a bit awkward. Speaking about, this is the last topic. The price of delivery. There's places 3 or 4 miles away, £6 delivery.
I've said this before, and I stand by it. Nobody has ordered, like, now we're out of lockdown. Nobody has used Just Eat or Deliveroo, Uber Eats. Nobody's used any of that stuff sober.
Oh yeah.
There's a McDonald's not too far from me, and I once ordered a Big Mac meal, and I think I paid about £6 for delivery. It's at the end of my fucking street, and by the time it came up here, it was freezing. I had to blast it in the microwave.
Bamford, there's nothing new about that. It's bloody freezing when you pick it up at the hatch anyway, so it makes no difference.
You leave those people alone, they do a good job.
It makes no difference. Well, you're the one that was saying when you're running around delivering pizza for £2 a go, how can you charge 6 if you're only getting 2?
Well, here's a story. I used to deliver pizza, right, when I was
what's that like?
17. I was just driving, so yeah, 17.
You have a lot in common with Bamford.
Okay, I delivered a little pizza. Okay, go ahead, Pistol.
And
Listen, can I ask you, sir, what way did you actually deliver? Could you show me with your hands the way you would actually deliver a pizza?
What do you mean?
So, did you deliver it sort of like that?
Carrying the bag?
You know, hand,
all right, okay. So I did a stint as a pizza delivery driver, right? Mm-hmm. After my third delivery, when I came back to collect the fourth, there was a couple of disgruntled members of staff standing waiting for me like this. And I said, all right. And they went, we've had a phone call and a complaint. The way you delivered that last pizza, it was all like the topping was all screwed up and it was squished was the words I heard, right?
Yeah.
I said, well, it's maybe because I've got a lot of stuff in the car. Maybe it's got squished. No, we saw the way you carried it out. You literally, I lifted it and then carried it on its side like that. And everything just went.
Delivery 4, right? Delivery 4.
Uh-huh.
They're ringing up looking, where is this pizza?
Uh-huh.
And the boy delivering it is sitting at the McDonald's drive-thru.
That is true. No, not delivery 4. No. Well into the evening.
So delivery 8 or 9 then?
You know the way they make...
So he flies up to McDonald's hatch with the wee sign on the roof.
No, I didn't have the shark fin, right? So this was Domino's, and they make you download this app that you use for delivery. But they can also track you, right? Mm-hmm. So they have a big screen up in the kitchen, like where all the drivers are when they're expected back, and there's my car going through the McDonald's drive-thru.
There was before I get on to my story. I not that I had a complaint, just had a very awkward moment, but because let's be honest. It's very awkward going up to someone's door and they're having a wee night and they're either in their pajamas or they're in their dressing gown and they're coming to the door blocked, getting this pizza. There's a prank. Do you remember the prank phone call of the guy who phoned up the pizza place and he was complaining that he ordered all these toppings in the pizza and they weren't there, and he was going through this rigmarole and it turned out he'd opened the pizza box upside down, so he was looking at the bottom of the pizza. It was upside down. And I went to this guy's house and the houses are like stone finished. Like we pebble dashed. Pebble dash is the word. And it was raining. And I had the pizza box like that. And I walked on to his doorstep, which is tiled. And it was wet, obviously, because then it was raining. So I slipped on his tiles. I slipped on his tiles, and I had I had the pizza in one hand. Look at my hair. Had the pizza in one hand, and I had the can.
Right now.
I had the can.
You're like Bobby Charlton.
I had the I had the pizza in one hand, and I had and I had the can of Fanta in the other hand. So as I slipped, trying to keep the pizza level, but the can of Fanta hit against the pebble dash of the house. So he opened the door to find. He opened the door. Oh, fucking hell. Right, anyway, let me get through this story. He opened the door to find me trying to balance the pizza while I was like mid-slip, but the Fanta the Fanta was pissing out of the tin. So he opened the door and the Fanta squirted all over him as he opened the door because the pebble touched.
Classic.
Oh, Jesus. But to be fair to him, he didn't complain. He just said, "Oh, my tiles were wet and it's slippy. Don't worry about it." But he was covered in Fanta, and the pizza was drowned in Fanta because I was like you being a fireman. He opened the door, and I was just spraying him with Fanta. Oh dear!
But I found,
what about the bloody price of it?
yeah, that's what I found.
This is ridiculous.
Like, and the like every other delivery you're doing is like 40 to 60 quid. Like nobody's ordering. If I order a pizza, I'm ordering one pizza. People are ordering 2-3 pizzas, sides, drinks.
Yep.
The last delivery I did was at like 5 to 1 in the morning, and some like wee stoned 18-year-old opened the door, and he'd ordered a chocolate chip cookie and 3 tubs of ice cream.
Oh, for flip's sake. Yeah.
I suppose that was about 25 quid.
But it amazed me how many people, when you arrive at the door and they'd open the door in their pajamas. And like
I had a woman open the door, and she had her dressing gown on, but it basically wasn't done up.
oh,
And just also, your car stunk of pizza all week. I could not get the smell of pizza out of my car.
it drives you nuts though. You just want to start digging in. But there was one guy in particular. You mentioned he was a big fella, and I swear to God, there must have been 3 pizzas, all different toppings, sides, cookie, liter of fucking Fanta or Coke or whatever. And I thought there's a house party going on here. And I walked up and down trying to. There was no numbers on the doors or whatever. So I started knocking or ringing doorbells, and eventually this guy opened. Yeah, it's for me. It was one big fella on his own.
Pizza bores me now. 2 slices is plenty. Do you remember Bamford and me used to get the big pizzas on a Tuesday?
That's 2 for Tuesday.
2 for,
Yeah.
halfway through, same old thing. It's a bit of sauce on a bit of bread,
Yeah.
and the price of it's ridiculous.
I'm not a massive pizza guy. But where's your favorite pizza place?
It used to be Pizza Hut.
Apache.
Never had one of those, I must say.
Apache's good. Has any? I haven't, because I can't be bothered queuing. But Flout seems to be the place to go to.
Never heard of it.
No.
Newton Ards Road.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I was in Pizza Punk 2 days ago.
It's okay. There's a place in Dublin, and they put like this honey. They drip this honey sauce all over it. Bambino. It's great. We should go. Let's be honest.
And we'll do a TripAdvisor review.
We'll record an episode from inside a Pizza Hut.
Well, on the Pizza Talk, I think we'll wrap up this episode.
All right. Bye-bye.